Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanum. Pakhair ragale. Ni hao. Tsunashumme. Washmale. Ohio gozaimasu. Guten Morgen. Hola. Bonjour. Privyet. Kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore. Ahlan wasalan. Marhaba. Buna. Mucho. Gracias. Swabiab. And a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know that we go out in 46 different countries, so we are just trying to make sure over here that everybody out there who's glued to their television screens and are waiting to watch our show, ladies and gentlemen, we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully fine and are fabulous, and that everybody around them or everybody who surrounds them is doing perfectly fine in life as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that these are very testing times. This is a very testing period of life in everybody's life. And I think that this is something which is common these days. And to be very honest, I think all of those people who are actually making sure that they're going to get up every day, dress up and show up and make sure that they're going to continue with the struggle of life are the ones who are actually going to reach at their destiny. But then, ladies and gentlemen, at times we kind of forget what our destiny is, or we might not even know, or we might not even be at that stage of life where we are aware of what our destiny is or how it actually looks like. For a person like me, I consider that every day waking up, dressing up and showing up at my work is something I call destiny. Because destiny, ladies and gentlemen, cannot actually be just one simple thing. Life is an evolution. And I think that we really need to be accepting all of that which is actually evolving around us as well. And we have actually made sure that we kind of give away this message that for all of those people who learned something, then didn't unlearn, and then didn't learn again, are the ones who are illiterate in this century, ladies and gentlemen. Because everything is changing at such a rapid pace that we really need to keep up. So I think that it's better for all of us to make sure that we are aware of what our interests are so that we focus ourselves and then channelize our energy. So this is a message which I would love to start with. But other than that, I think that today we have picked up on a very amazing and a superb topic, and I'm very sorry that we have never ever discussed this before in the last 6 or 7 years on World This Morning or on this platform, which is provided to us by PTV World. Ladies and gentlemen, when I was a kid, I still remember. Okay, first of all, I think I need to actually tell you what we're talking about. We are talking about something which, ladies and gentlemen, we believe has got an impact on behavioral change, has got an impact on how we are actually going to live our lives in the near future as well, or probably how we shape our thoughts. This is something which we are talking about. But I think that I'm going to bring you down to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I used to actually go to my grandparents' house, make sure, sit with them. In fact, our parents made sure that we are going to go see our cousins, kind of have a social life with our cousins and family members as well, so that we are closely knit, so that we are all together in the times of ups and in the times of downs as well. But then, ladies and gentlemen, there was this one beautiful thing which we all went through, and that was that, our grandfather's place, at our grandfather's place, I'm sorry I cannot call it a Haveli, but everybody else wanted to call it a Haveli, because you really cannot have 14 rooms on a 5-marla plot, So, but whatever condition it was a joint family system. Everybody used to live together. So whenever we used to go visit our grandparents' place, either my grandmother or either my grandfather would actually make us all sit and share a story with us. And ladies and gentlemen, those stories would link with, probably people like Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Allama Iqbal, or our own Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And not just that, we used to take inspiration and we used to learn from those stories. And I think that we have definitely contemplated upon those stories. And that's why where we are in life is because of the fact I'm going to dedicate it to all of those people who actually were storytellers for me. So ladies and gentlemen, today we are actually going to talk about storytelling. And storytelling, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, has got a pivotal impact on a kid's behavioral change as well. Not just that, it sets the direction of a kid's mentality, as in which direction he or she needs to go in, or probably what things he or she picks up, or what are her or his interests as well. So ladies and gentlemen, storytelling, I'm very sorry, but unfortunately is nowhere to be seen in these days as well. And I think I'm guilty of that as well, because I've never ever shared a story with my daughters. I try sharing, but not a story, probably a song or something else as well. But I think that this is something which we wanted to talk about today. how is it going to have an impact on a grassroots level, and how the kids will behave after listening to a story. Not just that. We have seen that Pakistan television is airing this drama serial Altarul, which is one of the hits in these days as well. And not just that, I'm glad that I was a part of the dubbing team as well. But then, ladies and gentlemen, when at the same time we are actually taking inspiration from a drama serial which actually teaches us about our history, imagine, God forbid, for all of those people who are actually watching all those private channel dramas, what's happening to them. I mean, somebody is in love with somebody else's wife. Wow, that's a catastrophe, that's a disaster. So I think that we really need to think that the kind of content we are sharing with people has got an impact, and we really need to think that way. Because, you know, just before getting started with the show, I was in discussion, I was in conversation with my guests, and they said that, you know, that there are kids coming over and they're like, okay, when am I going to make a lady wear a ring? I don't think that a 4-year-old needs to talk like this, or a 5-year-old, or a 6-year-old. So it definitely has got an impact. But not just that, then at the recent times, we have seen that there are a lot of veteran actors. I'm sorry, but I think that actors will be fine for them. So for all of us, you know, people who are affiliated with the television industry, we want to work in like Hollywood, we want to work in other industries as well. But how come we are not welcoming all of those people who are actually working for, you know, for first of all in the first phase, for their industry, and then if we think that, you know, that the drama was fantastic, we're picking up on it, I think that we're doing a great job, and we really need to be open with ideas, and not just ideas, with our thoughts as well. So what kind of impact storytelling will have on somebody is something which we will discuss today. We're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a professional storyteller over here in the studio, and not just that, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a psychologist as well. She's over here in the studio with us. She's none other than Miss Sana Khan. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum, good morning to you as well.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. And alongside Miss Sana Khan, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a writer, a producer. She's none other than Miss Fatima Shah, and she happens to be a storyteller as well. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thanks very much for having me here.
Wa alaikum assalam, and thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. So first things first, Sana, I think I'm going to start my conversation with you. What we want our viewers to know is whether storytelling has had an impact in the previous years or not, or do you think that storytelling is a tool with which we can actually mentor kids?
Yeah. Okay, so to start the conversation and to answer your question, as Albert Einstein said, that if you want your children to be smart, tell them stories.
Okay.
And if you want them to be brilliant, tell them more stories.
All right.
So yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
So storytelling has an impact.
It does have a lot of impact. And if you want me to talk about a few important things that you know, can be touched through storytelling, number one to me that is of, I think, most importance is that children from a very young age understand the importance of listening to the other person.
All right.
Right? The tolerance that we mostly lack in our society is that, you know, we can't listen.
Collectively,
and we,
yes.
Yeah, and we can't really see lives or situations through other people's perspective. So I think storytelling from the very early stage gives you that tolerance.
Exactly.
And the other thing, I think it creates empathy towards other cultures, other religion.
Acceptance.
Acceptance. And then understanding that my perception of situations or the world is not the only reality.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So there is so much more to all the situations and everything. It's not just, you know, my perception, and we get fixated that, okay, if I see this certain situation in a certain angle, from a certain angle, okay, so this is the only reality.
Yes.
I think it gives a lot of perspective through
That was a very valid and a very interesting point as well, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm glad, well, I don't know whether I should be thankful or not, but I know a few people who are actually fixated with the kind of mindset they have, and then they're like, okay, you know, this is it, and that's my understanding of life, and nobody can change that. And that's very true. But then at the same time, you know, since you mentioned that storytelling is a very essential part of our grooming and whatnot, and that it has an impact, and what Albert Einstein said. But then at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be aware of what kind of storytelling we're talking about over here. Because in Pakistan, everybody tells you a story. Usko, you know, we call it kahani kara di yaar. So, you know, that is something which you really need to save yourself from. But storytelling, as in literally storytelling, is something we are talking about today. Let me move on to Fatima over here. So Fatima, you've been affiliated with the Higher Education Commission, you've been working with them, you're a professional storyteller. Highlight the importance of storytelling in the first place, and then we'll talk about how do you think that the condition is right now, or how are things right now?
First of all, Shahzad, I want to tell my story.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, because being an employee of higher education sector for 15 years, I have worked there a lot, and I have given a 15-year span of my life to that sector. But working there, I realized that higher education, giving something, contribute something to Higher Education Commission is very, very important, especially when we see last 15 years in Pakistan. But being a mother, when I became a mother, I really felt that something should be started from grassroots level. Because it's really, really, really very important to give your children your norms and your values from the very start. Because when I used to visit universities and I used to see the behavior of students and to be very honest, sometimes teachers also, somewhere it made me disappointed. That because the norms and values which we used to have, which we used to listen from our grandparents, our parents, I feel that there's a deficiency of those. I feel it's a weakness there in universities. Because I belong to an educationist family, and I used to attend my father's classes in the universities.
And let me add over here, ladies and gentlemen, that her father actually made everybody proud as well, because he made sure that for all of those people who were underprivileged and cannot or do not have access to education, her father actually provided them free education. Not just that, she's following his footsteps as well.
Exactly.
Very good.
Exactly. It's my mission to take my father's mission forward, take forward. So when I used to attend the classes, I have his sentence in my mind. This is my duty, not only to educate you, but to train you. If I do not train you, it means that I am not sincere with my profession. So I am giving you training to be successful in life, to be successful as a life partner. This is really very important. So I felt being an employee of Higher Education Commission that I should do something. This is enough. I have contributed a lot. I should do something from the grassroots level. So that turning point, that spun my direction of working. So I started working on storytelling, and in my studies, my subject was also storytelling. I worked on Finding Dory. So the second point was when I used to see the dramas, and I'm watching the dramas right now also on Pakistan television, and I'm really very annoyed with it. I'm really very sorry.
With Pakistan television?
Yeah, not Pakistan television, Pakistani drama.
Pakistani.
Yes, exactly.
Dramas, yes.
Thanks for correcting me.
No problem.
So yes, as you mentioned that extramarital relationships and immoral relationships between families, devar, bhabhi, behan, behnoi. I mean, this really makes, I got shivering when I heard a sentence from a family member, from a kid, that in dono ki talaq ho gayi hai ya nahi. So it really was annoying for me that, I mean, where our kids are going. So what I thought that I should do something from the grassroots level to produce good content producers. And for that reason, I have started a training program. Although it's due to pandemic, these are online trainings, but we have a plan to go to school, colleges and universities to produce good content producers also, embedded with our norms and culture we have in our history.
That's brilliant, and thank you very much. I think that you've given us a very deep understanding of what the issue is over here, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to kind of highlight it, and we take it as a responsibility as well. But I'll move on to you now. Now, for all of those things which Ms. Fatma has mentioned over here today, I think that there's a problem. There's a problem with our morality. There's a problem with our cultural norms. There's a problem with our values, because the kind of direction we are going in, it indicates only one thing to me, that people are hungry for ratings, and the more the ratings, the more the money. And even in today's time, we have seen that, commercialization is at its peak, people want to buy, and all of those things. How do you think that we are going to let people know that just like a cell phone, just like a pen over here, is the utility of money as well? It's an object which you are going to use for yourself, just like use a pen or a cell phone. So how do we bring that concept to people that, hey, you know what, it's not only money which is important for you, there are norms, there are values, and that's how you go forward.
I think there's a very fine line between trying to create awareness on a certain
Yep.
topic and or normalizing it,
All right.
doing it in a way that it is normalized in a society.
Yep.
So when you talk about morality, so the problem, the issue that I see, although I'm not a person who would watch dramas or who would
Are you
watch
sure?
a lot of TV from like
right.
forever. I've never
Very
But
been
you might have
into-
seen Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, or all of these dramas. as
Hardly,
well.
hardly.
Hardly?
Yeah. Oh my
Okay.
God. From my teenage years, I was never into watching dramas.
You're a blessed soul then.
Yeah, thankfully. So, but of course, it's not that I'm so oblivious to what is
Yep.
happening around. I have an Insta page, and the drama trailers, keep on popping up. It's not that I don't know what is happening, but I try to keep myself away from it.
Yep.
Anyway, so understanding, I think that understanding is very important, where you are trying to, if you want to create awareness,
Yep.
and if you want to tell a story in a way that you tell that, this is what is happening, this is an issue, and how you portray it and how you take it towards the end, how would you show that if somebody is doing this, what is the end result? If you make it a very normal thing by showing it in a glorified way, so whatever kind of relationships you're talking about, and she just mentioned, if you glorify it, of course, then there is negative impact.
Exactly.
So it's a way of showing and portraying stories, how you narrate a story. And then, of course, content is really very important, where now people have awareness that the stories our kids or children were fed with, the kind of concept for girls, for example, that the Prince Charming has to come and rescue you, otherwise, other than that, you don't have any value. You don't add any value to anybody's life, or if you're beautiful, if you fit into a certain criteria of beauty, then a Prince Charming would come and, only then he'll rescue you. Otherwise, the Cinderella sisters who were in a story not so good looking, so they are rejected by the prince. You get it? So the information, the content we are delivering is very important. I think.
Exactly. This is a very important point which you have highlighted as well, and I think that this is something which is very prevalent over here in the society as well. Now, for all of those little girls who are actually growing up, everybody wants to be a Cinderella. Everybody wants somebody to actually steal their shoe away, or probably, somebody's going to bring it back. Everybody wants to be a Barbie. And then at times, it's very cosmetic as well. A 4-year-old comes up to you and she's like, I need to get my makeup kit, is something which we do not want. But what I'm going to project over here is that if we go back in time, we were very lucky, we were very blessed that we had people like Fatma Suraya Bajia, Banu Kutsia Saiba, and all of those people who actually used to come and appear on television screens and share stories, which was great. And I still remember even Banu Kutsia Saiba once actually said in an interview that we are teaching our kids that, that if you're not going to study, you won't get a job, this and that and whatnot. But we are not trying to tell them or educate them that God forbid if you get divorced, what to do. Or God forbid if a kid of yours dies, what to do. I think that those were the things which we really wanted to learn or needed to learn as well, and nobody highlighted on that. Now, the one major missing over here is that we do not have people who are going to or who were creating such amazing content, and this is one thing which you wanted to work on, and this was your direction, that you want to have more content producers. Now, for somebody to be a content producer just because of the fact that you're going to hold a seminar or a training technique or whatnot, we cannot give them morality at this age. We cannot give them all of those values or cultural norms. So how are we going to do this?
So that's why we are starting from the grassroots level.
Yeah.
We have started working on kids.
So we are going to miss out on a generation or two. So
Yes.
that's what you're saying, कि ये जो हो गया वो हो गया.
Exactly, but we will try to embed.
Okay.
We will set examples
All right.
for them that, see, this is what we want to show you and this is successful.
Yeah.
So you can also write dramas like that.
Okay.
But for that, we have to start from the grassroots level.
And there's one more
Because
important
this
thing.
generation, I think this generation, I always say a sentence, let me say this, ये generation, हमारी generation तो डंडे से सीधी होने वाली है. So I always say that.
I don't agree to that though, but yeah. Okay, what she's trying to say over here is, ladies and
You have your
gentlemen,
own
is something
experience.
that I do not even want to share with you all, because I think that's a very different concept. Even though we might have been that generation, I've been, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say anybody that, okay, I was slapped by my mother. In fact, even today, ladies and gentlemen, I do get slapped by my mother, and it's because of the fact that I think that has kept my morality intact.
Me
कि
too.
बेटा ये नहीं करना, which is Which is cool, but how are you going to produce? So you're going to, let go of a generation, whatsoever, and you're going to start from the grassroots level. Because of this generation, because they're going to be the parents of the generation which is going to follow, how do you think that things will set up?
I will sum up this in one sentence. When I started my studies in production, one of my teachers said, do your project which should not be against Pakistan.
Okay.
He said that he gave me a criteria that whatever you are working, it should be embedded with moral values and should not go against your country.
Okay.
So I always start my training with this, that whatever you are doing,
can I stop you over here?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So now I think that it's a very valid question, because for me, whenever we are on television, we do get a lot of, there are a lot of requirements which we have to fulfill, that we do not have to go, below the belt and whatnot. That's fine. But if we have a disagreement at one point, that does not mean that we are actually going against our country. So for in your case, if your teacher told you that, you shouldn't actually be doing a project against your country, is something which is fine. Okay, everybody needs to do that. But what if you have a difference of opinion?
Yes, you have to show the reality. I mean, without showing the reality, you cannot educate your society.
Yes.
That is what I understand. And we have to, because a story has a beginning and a problem and a solution.
Okay.
So without that problem, you cannot fabricate your story.
Yep.
So you always have to put a problem in a story to have the attention of your reader or your listeners or
to
your
make
viewers.
sure that they understand.
So you have to show the reality. But what my point of view is that why can't we depict the solution as well in the story? Why this is always, I mean, we talk about divorces in the drama. Why can't we show a relationship in which
happily married after?
In which a husband and a wife has some problems,
really
and they sort it out without getting divorced. So I mean, you have to show the reality, but you have to change the direction of your depiction also.
But are we okay? Let me move on to Miss Sana over here. So are we kind of trying to expect from people that they're not going to, do this? I mean, do you think that it's this simple, that we're going to tell somebody that, hey, you know what, stop with the ratings and the money, and put some good solution over here so that nobody watches the end of the drama? Then everybody would know happily married after is something which nobody loves. Everybody wants drama, everybody wants a thrill or something of other than that, and we are accustomed to that now.
True.
How do you think that we're going to change this generation in the first place, because they're going to be the parents for the generations to follow?
I think it's a very complicated question, because this generation is already,
We're so used to all of these things.
Yeah, we are fed with all these ideas, okay, so the man has to be in these shoes and the woman has to be in these shoes. बच्चे ऐसे करते हैं, औरतें ऐसे. So the fixed ideas again. The thing is, we all have to play a role when we become an adult, when we are individuals. I feel that we are responsible to groom ourselves, evolve as a person. That is why I think our field is very important. To empower people to have their own ideas, their own opinions. When you said na कि you are fixated on an idea, or you're told to, okay, don't talk about your country, or don't do this, don't speak about religion. I don't think it's a very healthy thing, right? You have to have an opinion, and in this society, having an opinion becomes an issue. Okay, so the other person would take it as an argument. No, I'm not arguing with you. I'm giving my opinion.
That's true, yeah.
So it's very difficult, very complicated for this generation. And then we talk about media, and then when we talk about digital world, I think that is true. That there is a lot of pressure on them, because right now all the information we get through that medium, right? But what about the people, again, those who are making, okay, somebody is producing a movie, somebody is producing a drama. What about his own morality? What about where is he coming from? Is he an evolved individual, or what is his mentality? So what is his worldview? So when we talk about storytelling from a very young age, but then again, of course, the content has to be the right content. If you're feeding them with the wrong messages, again, the purpose fails. So content writing, I think, is more important than the production side of it.
It is, and this is, thank you very much for, directing us in the right direction. This is something which is very important, that God forbid, we know how the situation is, and it's very dire. But now if you are to do something which you think that you are actually going to start from grassroots level, because for all of those people who are producing these dramas, what they do is that they go to script writers in the first place. We have amazing script writers over here in Pakistan as well, and I don't know why, but I've got immense respect for Mr. Khalilur Rahman, and there's a reason, because I think that he makes sure that whatever is prevalent within the society is something which will be depicted in his drama serials. This is one thing for sure. But don't you think that you getting closer to people who are actually writing dramas for different TV channels and then kind of engaging them in activities where their mindsets change, that okay, you can probably write something like this which is going to reap you the same benefit? Because God forbid, thank you very much, you mentioned about social media networks as well. We see people ranting all day long. He did that, he did that, she
Yes,
did
of
that.
course.
That's the kind of content we're making, nothing other than that. People, if we see, for example, there's this very famous app, TikTok. I don't know what they're doing. So they, every other video which I see of young kids, probably, girls or boys, they're talking about betrayals in love and all of this thing. How do you think that now we are going to, get closer to people who are actually producing all of this content or writing all of this content, and make sure that we teach them or guide them that, okay, we really need to have some scales of morality over here?
Of course, we have to talk to them.
How?
We have to. This platform we are using to impart a message.
Yes.
This is the start.
Yeah.
So we should have talk shows on these kind of things. We should go to universities to talk to students, to talk to children, and we should have workshops on this kind of topics to force them to write. I mean, we should have competitions like this, that if somebody writes a very good script, having stories like this, he or she will get something as a present, or we can introduce that person on television, something like that. So I think I have taken feedback from people, and they want to learn script writing, and they say that when I started script writing, I didn't find the training for myself.
All right.
So I contacted different persons from PD Media, and they said that we have learned from this environment. And people want to learn it. So when they want to learn it, I think this is the turning point. We can turn the directions of their writings also, because they are willing to do it.
Exactly.
So I think so.
I think that's a very valid point as well. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that we have actually digged quite deeper as well. Now what we're going to do is that we're actually going to go out for a short break. When you guys will come back, we'll actually be in conversation with somebody over Skype who will let us know that, how what a woman of the 21st century wants to do, how do they think, and what are their future goals as well. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go towards a short break. When you guys will come back, we'll have our guest over Skype. Not just that, towards the end, we'll actually ask Miss Sana what to do on grassroots levels with our kids, how to educate them, how to instill morality, values and norms within them as well, so that they come out to be beautiful human beings. Let's do this. We're going for a short break. Good morning.
Tent pegging is an equestrian sport practiced in many countries around the world. Wooden targets are placed on ground at a specific distance, and players wearing traditional dress and turban have to run their horses and try to hit the target and pick it up with a lance. Target missing is considered as a failure. Tent pegging is thought to have originated in the subcontinent. Historians say that mounted soldiers would gallop through enemy camps, removing the tent pegs with their lances and swords. They would be followed by more mounted soldiers who took advantage of the surprise and havoc caused by collapsed tents and a confused enemy. Today, tent pegging is practiced around the world, but is especially popular in Australia, India, Israel, Oman, Pakistan, South Africa and the United Kingdom. The Olympic Council of Asia included tent pegging as an official sport in 1982, and the International Federation for Equestrian Sports recognised it as an official equestrian discipline in 2004. After independence of Pakistan, the game came under clouds because of lack of state patronage, which ultimately diversified to more glitzy, more glamorous games like cricket and hockey. Public interest in the cities thus diverted these games of glamour, yet the landlords, bourgeois.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PTB World, you watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Khan. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very lucky that I'm actually in conversation with people who want to change the very thought process of our kids, and it's because of the fact that we might not be going in the right direction, and it's an alert, and we are prompting you about it as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by Sana Khan, psychologist, Ms. Fatima Shah, who actually happens to be a professional storyteller, a writer, and a producer as well. But not just that, ladies and gentlemen, before going towards the break, we were in conversation with them, and we were asking about the importance of storytelling. We have dug in quite a little, but towards the end now, we will definitely talk about solutions or how to actually embed all of those values, norms, which our culture gives us. But not just that, ladies and gentlemen, we really need to speak about the women of 21st century. We see that there's equal representation in our armed forces. We have GD pilots, we have pilots, we have engineer, and women are actually taking up all the leading roles as well. And research says that women CEOs are actually very successful than men CEOs. This is one thing which might be debatable, but right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually been joined by Ms. Sana Aga Khan, who's a social activist, and she's actually going to let us know what the women of the 21st century wants. Hello, Sana. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? I'm fine.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for taking our time. And yeah, you sound very energetic, which is great.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me this platform.
Thank you very much, Jazakallah. It's likewise as well. But Sana, the only question which we are going to ask from you is, what does the women of 21st century want, and how do they picture themselves? And you being a lady from the 21st century, representing 21st century, what do you think needs to be out there for you?
Okay. In my opinion is totally changed from other women's, because I think this is for the women best century we ever get, because we have many opportunities in different mediums. We are working freely. We are working, and I don't think so. There is some problem with some issues with women. We are actually blessed with Islam, and overall, I think we have to provide men's as well some kind of platform to to secure them. But I think
You can actually, what you can do is that you can actually even make us understand your point in Urdu. It's all right. I will translate it for our viewers. Say whatever you want to say. Go ahead.
Okay. My opinion is that women of 21st century are very much blessed. They have many platforms to work. Many women are working in law and orders condition. Many women are working in different fields. There is not specification for the ladies that they are not going for the armed forces. They are flying the airplanes. There are general inspectors, additional general inspector are women from Quetta, and different women are working whatever they want to do. This century helps us more than that. Our digital media is very much vast, and it helps us from the different tasking. For me, the 21st century is the century of challenges. We accept challenges. We have to work more harder, more energetically. We have to work in this society to serve our society.
Exactly, that's great. Thank you very much. I think that you've made me very happy today, and it's because of the fact that every time that we have been in conversation, women did have something to share. That okay, we might still not be that liberated, or might still not have that much space to go out in the open and whatnot. So if this coming from a lady, I think is something which made me very happy today as well. That women are finally realizing that they have got an equal standing within the society and obviously in the religion as well. But now, Sana, there's one more important thing, and that is that now when you feel that you've been empowered, now that you feel that whatever you want to do in life, you're doing it and you're achieving it as well. So I think it gives us a greater responsibility so that we can do something for other people as well. So what have you done? You have this initiative of MediaDocs.com, which is prevalent within the COVID times as well. Can you tell us about this a little as well?
Okay. Basically, Media Docs is the project between doctors and media. When the COVID-19 starts, from the early stages, we have to decide that with my friend, obviously I'm not alone running it, but with my friend, we have to, people are uh, react very badly about the COVID-19, about situation which is coming and which is very dangerous for all over the world throughout. China is announcing again and again that protect yourself, you have to wear mask and you have to wear gloves and this kind of situation. But the people of Pakistan in our community, they are laughing at it. Very bad situation we have to face, but we started an initiative between doctors and media with my friends that we have to aware the people who are laughing, who are giving different kind of opinions about COVID-19. We have to clear, first of all, we have to clear them that the COVID-19 is not a joke that we are suffering from. After a long time, now we realize that is not the way we thinking
Okay,
about that.
so what
But
so
it's
what you've basically done is that you're actually making sure that you're going to connect media and doctors, so that for all of those people who are actually believing all the myths of Sana Makhi or whatever is out there as well, you're making sure that there are no myths and everybody stays healthy, which is great. And it's a great initiative, and we really need to thank you for giving us so much information about your initiative, and that you are actually creating more awareness amongst the society. I think that's the women, or that's the kind of role we want women to actually be in 21st century. Thank you very much for leading from the front. Thank you very much, Sana, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation with you. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. Allah.
Thank you very much. So nice of you. Yeah. So for a minute, I actually want your opinion on this as well. What we were talking about, the woman of 21st century. Let's see what's your take on this.
I think, so again, I would say that, I never want to say that because, for example, I did not have any difficulty in getting education, or I come from a certain background. So that makes the whole reality, right? It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
So if I talk about women in 21st century, I'm not going to just talk about myself, right? I think that there is still a lot of work that needs to be done, because there's so many women who are suffering, and we just can't take away from it just by saying that because, okay, I am so privileged to get this and that, and but there is a very, very big fragment of society.
Exactly,
where
and
they're
thank you
not
very much
getting
for highlighting. So ladies and gentlemen, one more very amazing advice which we have for ourselves today is, and it's not just for women, and that is that in 21st century, if you're thinking about ourselves only, is the thing which is taking us in the wrong direction. We have to think collectively and about everybody else. What's your take on this one? Women of 21st century.
Yes, and I will turn the directions again to my point of view, that I agree with you that there is a huge gap that we have to do for our girls and ladies, and we want to change it by producing good content and giving a message that women are strong, and it's the woman who trained your boy and girl being a successful member of the society in future.
Exactly.
So with your good content, with the content embedded with these norms and values, you can change the direction of your generation.
Wow.
And
wow, and you're a wonderful speaker as well, and the kind of thought processes she's got, ladies and gentlemen, she's doing a phenomenal job over here. Now, let's get back to the topic where we started. Now, I think it's about time that we discuss about solutions. How do you think parents really need to make sure that their kid is actually growing up in a right direction, or probably learning all of those norms and values and, you know, whatever culture we need to have in ourselves as well, and not go against it? Now, the most important part over here is that a lot of people, when I've seen now when they've matured, now when they've grown up, they have identity crises as well, and they have other issues as well, where they do not know, okay, what's right for them, or what's part of their culture, or what's not. So there's a lot of confusion. How do you think that we set the direction right for our youngsters who are going to follow?
Yeah, I think when you talk about parents' role, they should start understanding this, that mostly humans, not only children, don't learn by just preaching. Right?
Yeah.
You can preach everything, but if you don't practice that, I don't think humans tend to.
Actions speak louder than
Yeah,
words.
so you have to actually, so children mostly learn through role modeling. So if you are not modeling a behavior and you think that just your lectures or, you know, preaching would benefit them, it's not going to happen. And especially in this century where there's a lot of information coming in, and children have their own mind as well, you know, mind of their own. So I think it's important for parents again to seek help if they have their own mental issues. If they have relationship issues, they should seek help. They should work on themselves as a human being. So you can be from any religion, any culture, and yet be a very good human being, right? So I think working on ourselves as a good human being, and then when you come in a society and you fit into different roles, I think you play a very positive role. So you can be a good human being, then you'll be a good father, a good husband, and the same goes for the
exactly. And thank you very much for saying that. And ladies and gentlemen, to be very honest, you know, whenever we talk about religion, I think there's no religion in this world which actually tells you about go and murder somebody. You know, every religion which is out there happens to be very peaceful as well. So I think that we at times take wrong connotations to what the message was. But very quickly, since you mentioned that, you know, that if you're arguing in relationships, you really need some piece of advice. How do you think that parents, I want you to actually talk to all of those parents who are out there, if they're arguing in front of their kids, what is the kind of impact they're making on their kids' mental health?
Yeah, so I think when you're, I don't say that, you know, keep your kids in a bubble, in a sense that, you know, you don't expose them to regular conversations, or you don't expose them to conflict at all, right? So if you do not expose your children to conflict, that is also going to be like really unhealthy for them. But if you expose them to only conflict and no healthy conversation, right, then also it is very negative. So try to expose them to everything, you know. Okay, I don't believe in parents all the time fighting, you know, by hiding from the kids. They should be exposed to, okay, so this is life, and you will have arguments, you will have fights also in relationships, and this is a normal thing. You need to understand how to cope with it and still respect the other person, and, you know, go about in life. That's what I think.
One thing I want to mention, that in our society, it's a sin to go to a psychologist. I mean, if you have a problem and if you're feeling something odd, your relationship is not going in the right directions, you both can go to psychologist and have a piece of advice, and you can mend your ways, and you can rectify the things. I mean, if you go to a psychologist, people say, "Oh yaar, kya pagal ho gaya hai? Kya zarurat hai psychologist ke paas jaane ki?" I mean, this is really a gap in our society, that going to a psychologist, people says that, I mean, this is an odd thing. Why do you need to go to a psychologist? So I think being a parent, I have been taking sessions from a psychologist, because doesn't mean that I was going mad, but at that time I needed those sessions to be peaceful,
to rejuvenate.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think this is another point which we need to be communicate
after. Yes,
to
or
our
probably
society.
we really need to talk about this as
Exactly.
well. But thank you very much, ladies, for being with us.
Thank
You gave us some amazing pieces of advice. Not just that, I think that, thank you very much, Fatma, for
Thank you.
for telling us that, that storytelling has actually had a stronger impact even on our lives as well. And it's the kind of stories we share with our kids as
Exactly,
well,
we used
which
to
is going to shape them to be better human beings as well. But not just that, ladies and gentlemen, I think over here very quickly I need to make a point. And since you said that, over here going to a psychologist is very stigmatized as well. And I'm sorry, but for all of those people, for example, if somebody falls off a bike, he or she breaks an arm or leg or something other than that, is something which is very visible. And the pain is there. But with our brain, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot see things. What we can do is that we imagine things and then we make sure that we actually formulate them into our words. And we really need to be very careful about what the other person is speaking, because it indicates a lot about their culture, norms, and the kind of thought processes he or she goes through, and the kind of nourishment and the nurturing part of his or her life, whether it was traumatic or not. That's something which is very different as well. But for whatever we utter, people do judge the kind of personalities we have or the kind of hard work our parents have probably made sure to, or probably provided us with, or for all of those platforms which they provided us with, to so that we can be beautiful human beings as well. And for all of those people who are out there who are parents to lovely kids as well, I think that there's one thing which is very important, and we need to know that, because with the increasing divorce ratios, ladies and gentlemen, there's one thing, whatever happens in between a brother or a sister, they are going to be brother and sister for the rest of their life. Whatever happens in between a son, a mother, or a father is something which is inevitable. This relationship is inevitable. So for all of those people who are husbands and wives, please make sure that you have such strong foundation of your relationship that no matter what happens, by the end of the day, you are in the same boat. This is something which we want for our kids and for the better future of Pakistan as well, because mental health, ladies and gentlemen, is very important. And not just that, I think storytelling is very important as well. Please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of World This Morning, on your television screens down below. Not just that, on Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G. On Daily Motion, it's World This Morning. On YouTube, it's PTV World. And then you look for the most viewed show, which is World This Morning once again. For all of our viewers who are out there and who were actually looking for our repeat timings, ladies and gentlemen, our repeat timings have changed from 11 p.m. tonight to 5 past midnight. Please make sure that you adjust your routine according to that. And we will definitely make sure that we bring you content which is full of norms, values, and culture. Let's do this. Bye-bye. Good morning.